Hello, everyone. So we have a very special guest with us today. Hello, John. Thank you for
Hi,
joining our show today. So first things first, congratulations on your 100th birthday.
thank you.
As I recall from past conversations, your son and grandson, they helped you out with your layout to help
That's,
celebrate. Must have
that's
been
right.
exciting for you.
I had my family threw me a party yesterday at my daughter's out in a little town 20 minutes away. And a lot of family members came from different parts of Canada to visit. And I had got a big surprise. We have a warplane museum in Hamilton, which is about 20 minutes away. And they have several war type planes. And they did a flyover for me in a Catalina.
Nice, nice. That that
So it was exciting
that must have been awesome.
because
Uh,
I was in the war and I was flying planes. So
So, we will be getting a chance to talk more about Locofy today, but before we get to all that good stuff, can you please share more about your experience and, history with the hobby? How old were you when you got involved? How many layouts have you
and
built? What technologies have you played with?
well, when I was 7 years old, my older brother gave me a train set. Circular tracks and a locomotive and a couple of cars, and that started me. And ever since then, I've been in model railroading on and off because I've got a family. You got too busy to build layouts, and but anyways, at first I went into old gauge and I built my own locomotive with a gear drive, mechanical gear drive, and in fact I put a variable speed pulley on there, so that I could choose the speed that I want the locomotive to run. And it was all well soldered together out of solid brass and aluminum frame and gear the trucks. But anyways, I eventually went into HO gauge, and I've had three layouts in my lifetime. You build it to a certain size, and then you get tired of it, and you have some new ideas. You tear it down and start again. That's the fun of it.
So what is your current layout? What's your latest layout that you're working on?
I have a big table, 5 feet by 8 feet, 10 feet, 5 by 10 on wheels. So
Nice.
I did a layout on it, and it's got two loops, concentric loops. It's got a yard, it's got a Y, a turntable, and a few roundhouse and so on. So right now, I've always been in DC. And I spent a lot of money, in the old days, it was all DC. So when DCC came out, I had second thoughts that it started to look a little complicated, a little bit expensive. So I just continued with my block system and DC control through a rectifier. And then one day, a couple of years ago, I've been thinking, that I've got a security system all handled by my phone. I've got my lawn watering system is by phone. I can control it, all the different units. I have a leak smart system that turns off the main water valve in the house if there's a leak at various sensors around the house. And that's all by my phone. So I kept thinking, there's got to be some way that you can put that practices to a little locomotive. And then I see your ad in the model railroader a couple of years ago, it was, and bells rang. I said, I'll give it a try. And one after the other, I added. I'm just waiting for your steam ones because I've got 5 steam locomotives. But now I've got 4 diesels and they're all on Wi-Fi. So
Yeah, that's really interesting because that's also, part of how the genesis of how Locofy started was very similar. Like you have our phone technology, such a ubiquitous piece of technology that is in every part of our lives except model railroading. And that's what kind of, sent us on this path. Yeah, absolutely can relate to
well,
that.
the thing is that I read all the magazines about the DCC, and it seems to get more complicated every time you turn around. And you got to invest some more money. And then when I saw your system, I got the phone. All I need is a Wi-Fi system in the locomotive. You made it.
You're using Locofy as your current solution for, for locomotive control on your
The
layout.
locomotives. I
So
energized all the track that I want the locomotives to drive on. Aside from the one that my steam is, I've got the separate loops and I can separate them, and the loop can be operated independently of the rest of the system. So I'm married to 2. I was looking for something simple that I could better. And the beauty of your system is that you can accelerate at a set range of speeds. You start it, the engine's on the sound, speeds up, the locomotive starts moving slowly, accelerates to the speed that you've set. You got the horn, you got the bell. You got a very good speaker in your system. They're very good.
yes, in fact, this was sound was something that we specifically spent a lot of time, effort, and resources on iterating upon back and forth because again, talking of technology, what we learned about sound in general is that sound is such a thing. It's all about your senses and how you perceive it. And to that extent, it's a lot more art than science in that sense. And so there was a lot of experimentation that we went through at arriving at the best, best baffle and the best combination of all of its technical parameters and all of that.
I find the LEDs are very good. They're very bright. They're much brighter than some of the others that the locomotives come with. And I fit them in a position and aim them right at and lock them into the little eyes, the little lenses. They're a real powerful light. It worked out, but I'm happy with it as far as I've gone. And I hope that you're going to be bringing out a steam control within a year or so while I'm still around.
Now, Steam is certainly a very high priority as on our roadmap. Like most technology companies, we also have a roadmap, and we are kind of continuously tweaking it around. So, what are your thoughts on using smartphone or a smart device for locomotive control as compared to older solutions?
It's simple enough. It's I like the versatility, and I don't know how to express it, but I'm very satisfied with it. After I got over the learning curve, it took me a little while, but I managed it.
Nice. Yeah, versatility, for example, one of my favorite features, which I think we are just scratching the surface of, is like, you can pick this locomotive and really it's universally plug and play. You can take it to any of your friends' layout. And
I mean, everything else in a house is controlled by your phone. Why not a locomotive?
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So one of the criticisms that we often get from some critiques of some critics of this technology is like, hey, a smartphone feels weird. I have to look at my screen all the time. Is that a challenge that you face when you're operating your locomotives?
No, no, I don't. I've got so good control. You back it in to couple up, pass it over the uncouplers, and
So
you
so
don't
what you
have to touch them.
so what you're saying is even in terms of precision, it works out just very intuitive as you would expect.
Yeah, it's, I'm very satisfied. I always imagined being able to control them like that,
Nice.
and it's come to pass.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know if you know the story of how this was born. It was actually the founder of this technology. They went through very similar exercise where, he bought this train set for their little kid, and it was so exciting to put it around the Christmas tree, take around, and then it was a bit of an anticlimax. Like, hey, is that it? Like, can I not control it, etc. And then when you start looking into the control aspect of it, it seems that it's a whole other world that you have to become, which is essentially DCC and all those older technologies, which just seems so far removed from our current reality.
Yeah.
So, so what kind of phone or device do you use for Loco-Fi, for controlling?
I've got a Motorola now, and I've got enough power in it to last for the period that I'm activating the locomotives. When it's working, I can do it with my it's a Samsung tablet. It's bigger.
Okay, so you
But
use
the phone is so handy. You don't need two hands to hold it.
Got it. This phone is also the phone that you use regular communications as well, or do you use as dedicated for Loco-Fi?
No, I use it for everything. I mean, I don't use a cell phone when I'm away from home, so very much. So just to locate somebody that you're meeting, and that comes in very handy that way. But at home, I use my home phone. Yeah.
Got it.
So
So
it's almost dedicated to to the Wi-Fi, Loco-Fi.
in terms of, sharing practices or being able to share your model or, share things that you have learned, do you have a
No,
community of friends that you work with or other model railroaders?
I have grandchildren and great grandchildren. They're interested.
That's nice. Have your grandchildren used Loco-Fi with you on your layout?
Yeah. Yes.
So how do they find using Loco-Fi?
Well, they look, they're better at it than I am. When I have trouble, I can go to my great grandchild and he knows how to do it.
That's one of those things that we also notice, often when we are at shows and exhibits, and we just put out a model train equipped with Loco-Fi decoder and a cell phone that can control it right next to it. And usually it's the kids who are first who just go at it, and they are even to, start controlling it without any directions or anything because it's just so intuitive, and they're up and running with it.
They all got one of these.
Yes. Would be your message to other model railroaders who may be wanting to use Loco-Fi or something like Loco-Fi, but you haven't made up their minds or are on the fence for one reason or the other?
Oh, I'm not sitting on the fence. I've made up my mind. Mind you, I'm limited, eh? I mean, following the DCC, I say it's all electronics. It's not model railroading anymore. You're not having fun. You're trying to solve problems with more automation and all that. It doesn't do any more than Wi-Fi, than Loco-Fi. For simplicity, this has got it hands down.
That's absolutely been, our kind of our driving philosophy is essentially simplifying the whole domain of locomotive control.
It's simplifying. Right now, this test track I've got, that's a Black & Decker battery, 19.2 volts.
Yeah, and that's the kind of versatility that you were talking about, I guess.
Well, the thing is, you can also put a battery in your, not in your loco, but in a car or the tender or what have you, and rechargeable, recharge it at night.
Yes, yes, and that kind of independence where you can completely separate how you power your locomotive from how you control your locomotive.
Yeah.
What is your vision for, you've given us many hints all along the way. You've talked about steam, you've talked about a few other pointers. What's your vision for Locofy as an ideal locomotive control system?
What do I think of it?
it-
I think it's the cat's meow.
That's really, great feedback, and that's something that we are always aspiring for. So, any questions that you have for me?
Or you just keep developing.
That's what drives us. It's really being able to provide as much value to all model railroaders as possible using the technology we have so much powerful technology in our pockets right now, and model railroaders are not even seeing, we haven't even scratched the surface of what the possibilities are there yet.
Well, I think that the newer addition to model railroaders will see benefits in this that the DCC operators don't, because they were introduced to it to overcome problems with DC. And it became more and more complicated. I'm telling you, every edition has got some solution to a problem. I don't see that relative to this.
Yes, absolutely. That's been also one thing that we wanted to make sure while developing the product was a long-term, very future-oriented solution. It was not meant to, it was like, hey, if I had to develop a locomotive control system considering the technology I have today completely grounds up, what would that be like? Instead of trying to marry something that I already have from legacy and trying to match up the two or some kind of a patchwork. So this was a completely grounds up approach.
Yeah, sometimes it's detrimental to try to build on something that's already, you got to take the shortcut. I hope that the model railroads in general take advantage of the Locofy or system similar to it.
Thank you for your time, John, and thank you for being a Locofy customer. Especially, appreciate your continued feedback to help us help all model railroaders.
Well, I hope it helps somebody. Give some confidence.
Yes.
If I got confidence, there's no reason for that.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your words.
Okay. So I'll say bye and nice talking to you.
Thank you again, and congratulations again.